my name is Sophie Hard and I am a microblading and paramedical tattoo artist at Glass Cosmetic Tattoo Studio. So I started following Audrey Glass on Instagram like 5 years ago, and there wasn't really a market for microblading. Like, it was sort of just blowing up and people didn't really know about it, and I wanted to get microblading done on myself, and I ended up going to some sketchy place in Koreatown. And as they were drawing on my eyebrows, it was really uneven, and I realized how artistic microblading actually is. So I kind of like lurked on Instagram for a while, and then my boyfriend was just like, you just gotta do it, you just gotta get certified. And I did. About 2 years ago now, I got certified in microblading. You want to look at somebody's portfolio. It's mostly on Instagram now that you can just kind of see somebody's work, and you want to look for photos where somebody starts with like 0 hair. And if somebody's photos are only people who had a really good hair at the starting point, you don't really know what kind of talent that microblading artist has. It can be a little crazy. The first week after getting microblading done, your eyebrows can be pretty dark, and usually somebody has kind of uneven eyebrows, so you're making them more even, and as they're healing in the dark phase during the first week, they can look more uneven, and it can just be kind of shocking to get used to it. So the first week is dark, kind of scary eyebrows, and then the second week they get a little bit flaky. And then they kind of disappear because the top layer of skin comes off where most of the ink is, and after about 4 to 6 weeks the deeper tattooed skin comes to the surface. So we always kind of tell people it's a little bit of a roller coaster to get your eyebrows done, and there's a lot of patience required and just like kind of blindly trusting your microblading artist that they really know what's best for your face. I really want to focus more on areola tattooing. I would really like to get the word out there that creating a nipple out of somebody's existing tissue and doing a reconstructive surgery isn't always the best option. Sometimes it's much better to just remove the breast and then have somebody tattoo a realistic looking nipple. I think a lot of plastic surgeons don't show people what a 10 years later photo looks like when they've had a reconstructed nipple, and oftentimes there's a lot of scar tissue and the color of the nipple kind of rejects as time goes on, and people don't really know that that could happen to them. There's kind of a big risk of getting a reconstructed nipple made after you've had your breast removed. I think one thing that's really sketchy about the microblading industry is that there are a lot of predatory schools out there that charge $5,000 or $6,000, and they teach you how to microblade in 4 days. I went to school for 3 nights and 1 day, and I was legally allowed to tattoo people's faces. And making sure you go to somebody who, you know, maybe was an artist before or was familiar with tattooing. Don't fall for somebody who's offering like really cheap rates. Don't fall for somebody who's charging like $3,000. Look at somebody's portfolio and just make sure that you like 90% of what they're doing. And make sure that the stuff that you don't like is maybe just like, you know, maybe that brow was too thick for you, but it was done well. You want to be able to not tell what's real hair and what's a microblading stroke, and that's a good way to pick an artist. And then something about me is that my passion is improv comedy. I perform like usually once or twice a month, and it makes me so happy. I do all sorts, like improvised full-length plays in various genres. I do musical improv, and it makes me really, really happy.